For most of the 20th century, historians agreed on one rule. Complex clockwork did not exist until medieval Europe. Then this turned up, a corroded lump of bronze dragged from the sea. And buried inside it, more than 30 hand-cut gears built to track the movements of the heavens. It is roughly 2,000 years old, which means the timeline of human technology we were all taught is wrong by 1,000 years. And the question that has haunted scientists ever since is simple. How did the Greeks build a computer before anyone invented the screwdriver? To feel how wrong this is, try a thought experiment. Imagine archaeologists crack open a sealed pharaoh's tomb, and inside, right beside the sarcophagus, they find a working smartphone. That is the scale of the anomaly. This device, the Antikythera Mechanism, is so far ahead of its time that when it surfaced, serious scientists called it a fake. Nothing this advanced was supposed to appear. For another 1,400 years. And yet there it was, resting on the floor of the Aegean Sea, waiting for someone to notice. Nothing this advanced was supposed to appear.
One diver descends to scout the seabed and surfaces in terror, raving about a pile of corpses below.
Nothing this advanced, they are statues. The cargo of an enormous Roman shipwreck that sank 2,000 years before. Over months of diving with primitive gear, one diver dies and 2 more are left paralyzed.
They bring up statues, jewelry, coins, and amid the treasure, almost overlooked, sits a shoebox-sized lump of fused bronze and rotted wood.
It is left in a museum drawer for months, while everyone admires the statues. Then the lump dries out and splits apart. A precision-cut gear. Everyone admires the statues. Then the lump dries out. That single detail turns a piece of junk into one of the most important artifacts ever pulled from the ancient world.
So what is it? Strip away 2,000 years of corrosion, and it is, in plain terms, a hand-cranked analog computer.
Turn a knob on the side, and a system of at least 30 interlocking bronze gears comes alive.
On the front, pointers sweep around a dial, showing the sun and the moon traveling through the zodiac. It displays the phase of the moon with a tiny rotating ball, half silver, half black.
It even reproduces the way the moon speeds up and slows down across the sky.
Using a pin and slot mechanism that models a wobble Greek astronomers had only just discovered.
And that is only the front. Flip the device over, and the back dials do something that still feels impossible.
One large spiral dial is an eclipse predictor. It doesn't just warn you an eclipse is coming, it gives the month, the day, even the hour. On some markings, it predicts the color of the moon and the direction of the wind. Another dial counts down the 4-year cycle of the Great Games, including the Olympics.
Reconstructions suggest it may have tracked all 5 planets the Greeks could see.
This was not a clock. It was a working model of the entire known universe, unreadable bronze, by 20 centuries of seawater. For decades, no one could prove how it worked. The gears were welded into a single, unreadable block by 20 centuries of seawater. The breakthrough came not from a chisel how it worked, but from radiation. By 20 centuries of seawater.
Researchers fired powerful X-rays and three-dimensional CT scans straight through the corrosion. For the first time, the hidden machinery appeared, layer by layer, like a ghost rising out of the metal.
And there was more. Etched across its surfaces, in letters smaller than a grain of rice, was Greek text. An instruction manual, describing the cosmos in letters the machine was built to predict. Think about what that requires. Somewhere in the Greek world, a century before Christ, there existed a workshop that could do this.
Someone who could compress the motion of the entire sky into a box you could carry under one arm. And the design is far too elegant to be a first attempt. Which means there were almost certainly earlier machines, and generations of craftsmen who spent their lives perfecting it. A technology understood, as far as we know, by only a handful of people on Earth. And here is where the true mystery opens up. Because after the Antikythera Mechanism, there is nothing. No device of remotely comparable complexity appears anywhere on Earth for more than 1,000 years. The knowledge needed to build it doesn't slowly fade, it vanishes.
It disappears into the collapse of the ancient world, until medieval clockmakers slowly reinvent what the Greeks had mastered and lost.
An entire branch of human genius was switched off and forgotten for 1,000 years. Now here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you, and it has nothing to do with the gears. We carry a comforting story that human progress moves in a straight line, always forward, each generation smarter than the last. Now here is the part the Antikythera Mechanism quietly proves that story is false. Knowledge can be invented, refined, perfected, and then completely lost, as if it never existed. Now here the unease you feel staring at this thing isn't about ancient Greece. It's a buried fear about us. That the things we know how to do today are not safe. That they could vanish in a single dark century. And that whoever comes after us might dig up our machines and refuse to believe we ever built them.
If this rewired how you see the ancient world, like, subscribe, and send it to someone who insists history is fully understood.
Until next time, question what you think you know. This is Perceptique, beyond what you see.